Right, welcome to the ultimate meta ads guide in 2026, or how to run insanely profitable meta ads for your MedSpa in 2026. Now, who am I? My name's Karan, and welcome to my channel. This is the first video of many, hopefully. So I run a company called DemoBooked. We are a marketing automation company that handle end-to-end client acquisition for the med spa industry. So we have many of clients across the UK and America where we handle A to Z, everything from creating ads to running them to following up with people, booking them in, and crucially training your team on sales to make sure that the clients that we bring you upgrade from just a treatment to a treatment plan, a membership, a package, right? So that's what we do, and we've been doing it pretty well. So over the past year, we've spent hundreds of thousands serving dozens of clients, and we figured out what the best ads are, which generate an ROI upfront and on the back end in 2025 that will work going into 2026 to run meta ads. So we love meta ads because meta ads are like a cocktail party. Instead of Google ads where people have intent about something and you're capturing that intent, hydrofacial near me, for example, therefore competing in price because one person clicks through many different options, meta ads are like a cocktail party where people don't exactly know that they want something and they end up being served your ad and then they remember or are reminded of a pain, and therefore you have much more pricing power. So that's all well and good, but why should you listen to me? So here are some of the results that we've generated for our clients in the past couple months. And you can see here, this is just on the front end. So that means the first time someone comes in, this is the revenue that they generate. Now, these clients are spending no more than 1 to 2K a month. And so if you're bringing in this kind of revenue on the front end, that means your ROAS, or return on advertising spend, return on investment, is very good. Now, what does today's session look like? Because I am assuming that you guys don't know much about meta ads, so I'm going to try and start from scratch. And today is more so of an overview of the types of ad that work, and not so much in terms of like the weeds of how to run them. We can do that in another session, but right now we're going to go over the overview of how advertising in general works for your industry, and then meta ads specifically, crucially the psychology behind them, because at the end of the day all advertising is the same. If you understand the psychology, you can run adverts in any industry. And then here are the 3 most common types of treatments that we help with: facials, body contouring, and advanced aesthetics or skin tightening. And how to run these types of ads, what the ads look like, what the copy looks like, what the offer looks like, all that jazz. Now, before we start any of it, I need you guys to grab a beverage, sit down. This is going to be a bit of a long one, but trust me, I will do my very best to return to you the most knowledge possible in the shortest amount of time. So, time is our most valuable commodity, right? It's more valuable than money, right? So I want to jam pack this session full of knowledge, insights that we've gotten from spending hundreds of thousands, so you can apply them into your business. Now, what does the session look like? First, we need to cover what a business actually does. So here are the 5 core processes of any business. Lead generation, you get people into your ecosystem. Lead nurture, you warm up these people. Sales, you actually sell them onto something. Fulfillment, you deliver what you promised. Ascension and retention. So how do we make these people worth more, or how do we make them buy again? These are the core 5 processes of any business. If you look at a dog daycare center, if you look at a circus planning event company, whatever it is, everyone needs to generate leads, warm them up, sell them, fulfill them, and make them worth more, basically, right? Now, in today's session, we shall be focusing on the first 2. And primarily the first one, how to generate leads for your med spa. If you know how to generate leads, you will never be broke, right? Period. Because someone could take your whole clinic away from you, take every machine, but at the end of the day, if you know how to generate these customers, you can go and do it for someone else, worst case scenario. Now, we're obviously talking about meta ads, right? But before we talk about meta ads, there are actually 5 main ways that 90 to 95% of your customers will come through. And these are the 5 ways: content, Google ads, SEO, referrals, and meta ads. So what I'm going to do is cover each of these in detail and tell you the pros and cons and why we choose meta ads as a vehicle to make people come into clinic. First, content. So by organic content, we mean content that is seen on the social platforms without paying for it, right? So I can show you some examples here.
Fried chicken, white rice, macaroni and cheese, slice of cake. You know I can't forget about the cold drink.
So you get the point, right? It's engaging, it can be funny, it can be informative. So on this side, we have something
fried
funny.
chicken.
This side was just attention grabbing, so this one probably got a lot of views, and then this one's funny, right? But people do a variety of different content strategies, from funny, informative, engaging, educational, right? And this is the general funnel. You have mass distribution of content. You have that's driving the social media traffic, right? So you distribute the content, you drive social media traffic, and this in turn becomes website traffic, general awareness, or DMs on Instagram and Facebook itself. And ultimately, it should lead to more bookings and more referrals. Very simple. Now, in terms of organic content, what are the pros and cons? Well, the pro is that there's a huge competitive advantage, because once you build up this machine, it takes a very long time for someone else to build it up. The second thing is it's almost free, apart from staff wages and editors. You just need to pump out content. You just press post and the platforms are not charging you for it. However, you of course have to pay an editor. So these are the two main advantages, which is that once it's built up, it's a moat around your business. It is your competitive advantage, because for someone to copy your brand and your presence on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok is going to take a very long time. And they probably won't even be able to copy it the way that you've done it, because you've got a particular type of fans based on a particular type of content. But the issue is that it takes a very long time, right? It takes an inordinate amount of time. People spend years and don't get much traction at all. And it also depends on your strategy, because, if you post a lot of the stuff that I showed you earlier, which is very fun, engaging, it's goofy, the clicks don't always translate into sales. So you can get a bunch of videos, but a common concern that my clients tell me is that, look, I post so much, Karan, but I don't get that many sales. I don't get that many DMs. And so is there really a point? Yes, but it's going to take a very long time for it to become a consistent, predictable, and reliable source of revenue into the business, but is great for brand awareness, right? It's also a full-time job to manage. Creating content takes a long time, especially if you're the one creating and editing it. And then I touched on this briefly, which is that it's unpredictable and unreliable. You can't just press a button and get more customers. You can try to do a call to action in the story, but you can actually fatigue your audience quite quickly if you repeatedly do that. And it's also not predictable. You can't really do cash flow statements based on this, because once again, you don't know whether this post is going to lead to 1 customer, 0 customers, 1 billion customers. You don't know, right? There's very little level of predictability from this. Should you do it? Yes. But should it be your focus? Probably not. Now, the next thing is Google Ads. Google Ads come in a variety of forms. So the first thing and the most common thing that people see is when they type in XYZ treatment near me. And that's a search ad. And the search ad comes up. But there are, of course, different placements that can be done. So, Google Ads can actually take the form on websites as well. So you can have a website and your clinic can actually be promoted on there. But like I said, most of the advertising is done via search ads. And so that means you can inherently steal someone's ranking. Someone that spent years on SEO, you can steal their ranking, because now you can just pay to be above them. And, oftentimes people don't read that small sponsored sign and they just click on it as if it was the first ranking one anyways. It builds tremendous amounts of confidence. Now, how does it work? Once again, this is the funnel. So, by the way, by funnel, what do we mean? We mean a way of processing traffic and attention into people paying you, right? In traditional marketing, there's a bunch of different stages in the funnel. So you have traffic, you have capture, so some kind of landing page, and then you have some kind of like booking, and then you have some kind of call, and you have some kind of sale, right? However, in this case, we have person searches for XYZ service in ABC area. You are paying for the ranking, therefore you pay for website traffic. You might pay like 10p a click, anywhere to like $1 a click, right? And then hopefully you should get more bookings, especially if everything's set up properly. Now, this is great because obviously direct ROI can be seen, which means that I'm going to put £1 in. I can see how many pounds I'm getting back. I'm going to put $1 in. I'm going to put $10 in. I'm going to see how many dollars I'm getting back. It's also scalable and predictable. You can predict pretty well even before you run the ad because you can see, hey, this is the estimated cost for this keyword. So if I wanted to rank for hydrofacial in Ohio, then I know exactly how much it's going to cost me in a range. So I know that roughly it's going to be like 10 cents to 50 cents for a click, right? And then, you times that out by 100. So, your cost per acquisition is going to be around, $10 to $50 if you're assuming a 1% conversion rate, right? Great. Now that's the positives. Now, what's the issue? They can get expensive and typically they have low ROI. So because we're in an environment where there's a lot of advertisers on Google and because it's so high intent with very few searches, so, there's not that many people searching up Morpheus 8 near me. Because of that, they can get very expensive and typically you can see a low ROI. So, this CPCs have been increasing cost per click. So I told you about 10 cent, 50 cent cost per click, but sometimes you can get $1 cost per click. And then if you imagine your cost per acquisition being $100, $200, it gets very difficult to make money, right? The second thing is you are going to suffer with price competition. People are very flaky and they shop around because all they're doing is searching up and they're comparing, too expensive, too expensive. Oh, this one's cheap. Let's go for this one. And so you get a lot of flaky people who are just there for the discount or just there because it's cheap. And then also, certain treatments that you want to promote may not be getting any searches whatsoever, right? So sure, you can rank for a pain-led search. For example, under eye, how to fix under eyes or under eye rejuvenation near me, right? But if you were to rank for a niche treatment like Tixel or even like exosome microneedling, because people are not searching it by and large, it would be very hard to capture that interest. So if I have this niche treatment I want to promote, it's really hard if I'm not actually getting the searches there. So that's Google Ads. Overall, it's good because it can be scalable and predictable and you can see the direct ROI, but you get a lower quality person because at the end of the day, they're shopping around and they want a good deal. Next, we have SEO or search engine optimization. So how does this work? So instead of paying for the ranking, in this case, you're working for the ranking. And the working for the ranking comes from organic stuff. So the stuff that you're going to spend and you're going to pay with time as opposed to money. There are these things called backlinks. So how many links refer to your domain or your website? And that is a backlink. How many blogs talk about you guys? How many things essentially point in that direction? And that will get a higher ranking. And so, if you talk to SEO agencies, they'll tell you, look, we need to spend 6 to 12 months building up backlinks and then eventually you will rank higher. Now, obviously in this case, the funnel is the person searches for this service. Because you've done all this backlinking, you will organically have a higher ranking from blogs and stuff like that. This is website traffic and hopefully you should get more bookings, right? And also it builds trust. Now, the advantage of this is that it's cheap, very, very cheap. All you have to do is pay for this guy, it could be a person in a developing country, to basically sit there and blog about you or make backlinks and stuff like that. And it's a very big competitive advantage because it takes a very long time to reproduce, right? But that's a double-edged sword. It takes a very long time to build up. And that's great because that's a moat, but also you gotta wait 6 to 12 months to see any traction from there. And I know clinics that have been working on it for years and they still have not got that many direct bookings because what you're looking for in SEO is for someone to search you up and give you a ring, right? And from what I hear, even if you rank decently well, and that means first 2 pages, there ain't that many rings coming in, right? Now, that's the first thing. It takes a very long time to build up. Now, the next thing is that AI has actually basically killed SEO because of AI summaries. So if you're on a major platform like Google, what you'll see is when you search something up, the first thing that used to come up was the sponsored. But now what comes up is the AI summary and people make a decision based on them. So what do I mean by AI summary? I mean that the AI will scour the internet for your search term and it will compile the best information. And it's not necessary that just because you have a high SEO ranking, you'll be one of the first to rank in the AI summary. And the data is very clear on this. It says that the majority of people will not look past the AI summary, and they will assign and attribute a lot of value to it, right? So what that means is that you spent like 6 to 12 to 24 months trying to build up your SEO, build up your ranking, but then Google just had an update and they're like, hey, by the way, all that work you did is for nothing. So instead of that, you can do other things. Now, the other issue with SEO is that it's not guaranteed. You can spend a very long time, but the algorithm could change one day and you could just be slipped a spot, and that's not great. It's not great way to spend money. It's not a great way to grow a business. It's not really predictable. It's not reliable. The next issue is that people will see sponsored Google ads first. So it will be AI summary, sponsored Google ads, and then SEO. So at that point, if you have the capital, why not just pay for the Google ads, right? And then finally, it's not always related to revenue. So, it's like some of the other ones like content. Sure, you're getting a lot of traffic, but if that traffic's not converting, if you have a really poorly built out website, it's got slow loading speed, it's very confusing as to how it works, you might not have a price list on there, people are going to bounce. And when people bounce, you have a lot of clicks and you spend a lot of time to build up this asset, but it doesn't really directly translate into revenue. So that's the issue with SEO. So I like SEO. It's more of a long-term play. I would still do it, of course, but I would focus on other things to get direct response from your marketing. This is a very long-term play, and it's much better for branding than it is for actually getting leads, right? Now, referrals. So referrals are the oldest way to grow a business, and this is how they work. So a person has a great experience inside of a clinic, then the clinic can either offer an incentive to spread the word, such as a gift card, gets $20 for you and $20 for your friend who you refer, or the client naturally tells a friend. So this is like the raving fan theory. When Airbnb started, the reason they grew so quickly was not even because they had a bunch of advertising dollars. They didn't. It was because they had a lot of raving fans. So you had people who would go and tell everyone about Airbnb, right? So there was one lady, and I think that she referred them like 100 extra customers from one lady who wasn't even paid to do so. So it just goes to show that if you offer a great service, you got a great product, you really, overcome what people had expected in their mind, you will naturally get these referrals to come through. You'll be crying out your eyes in referrals. However, if you add an incentive on top of that, the referral mechanism will go bonkers, right? And the good thing with referrals is that it's geometric. It scales exponentially. You have one person tells 3 people. Those 3 people go and tell 3 people each. And if you can imagine, like the graph of referrals grows very, very quickly. And so it's very, very worth focusing on the incentive piece of it. How can we align incentives? One thing that we found is to, give something to the person and also give something to the person who's being referred and the person who's doing the referring. Now, both of these things lead to more awareness and more bookings. Now, referrals can be absolute gold mine, because typically you'll see more committed patients who are more eager to buy because their mate or their friend has been through the process, trusts it. Remember, for someone to buy from you, they need to know, like, and trust you. And, it covers all 3 of those almost. It just doesn't cover the like one that well, because they know you, they trust you because of the friend and the implicit trust that you have built from the reputation of the friend. And, you need to solve out the liking part, right? But that's referrals. Referrals are very, very powerful. They can be free, The clients are typically higher quality and more committed, but they are unpredictable, can dry up randomly, not scalable, and you can't really make a business plan based on a referral. Referrals are absolutely fantastic at growing the business exponentially in the long run, but you can't rely on it in the short term to get you more customers. For example, if you got $2,000 to pay for your rent, it's very, very hard for you to get that $2,000 from referrals. it would be much easier for you to get it from Google Ads. You push up the ad, you know that you're paying like 100, $200 in the cost of acquisition of a customer. And at the end of the day, you're going to probably get to your 2K very quickly, right? So that's referrals. I love referrals, but I would use them in conjunction with more direct response marketing. Now, on to my absolute favorite, Meta Ads. Meta Ads is the greatest cocktail party you've ever been to. Because imagine you had a cocktail party that had unlimited people, everyone was invited, and you had a guide or a host who could find whoever you needed to speak to. If you wanted to speak to someone with sagging issues of the face, you could speak to them. If you wanted to speak to someone with pigmentation, you could speak to them. If you wanted to speak to someone with acne scars, you could speak to them. That is why it's my favorite, because the host, the maitre d' of the party, is very, very good at introducing you to people. So what happens in Meta Ads is you throw up a creative, the maitre d', aka AI, aka the host, will push your ad, if it's good, to that specific audience and that specific crowd, and they will opt in. And firstly, let's just cover these kind of creatives that you see. So these are like typical Meta Ads creatives. I can show you the video here. Okay, you get the point. So let's go over how they actually work before I, get hot and flustered. This is the general way that most clinics run their ads. This is one of the ways that we run ads as well, but we have other ways as well. So there is an ad for an intro offer. This might be $99 facial, $299, $399 skin tightening. You might even have a package on there. These are your Facebook and Instagram ads. So it will be an intro offer on Facebook and Instagram ads. You'll use a lead form to collect the info, or you can use a landing page. Then they will book on the landing page, or you will follow up with them, ideally outsourced, and this will result in new bookings, right? So this is very important. This funnel is fundamentally different to the Google Ads funnel, even though they're both ads. So in Google Ads, you have people who are searching for something already. They are going on Google and searching up XYZ treatment near me, or they're searching up what to do after, C-section, right? They're searching up stuff like that. However, on Meta Ads, people are just going about their business scrolling. And so it's our job and actually our advantage to get in front of them, make them realize that they need something, show them that our product or our service is a solution to what they're suffering with, and sell them. If you do Meta Ads the right way, you can make a lot of money. I've seen people make tens of thousands of dollars off of one ad. Literally off of one static ad. And it's crazy powerful because you can jig it in a way where you can make money upfront. So, just on the ad, if it's like a $99 facial, you might be able to get people in for $25. And therefore, if you're doing the facials, you'll make money upfront, right? You're making a 4x ROAS, return on advertising spend. And then on the back end, so when someone's bum sits in the chair, you are able to speak to them and you can upsell them. So this is the way that most clinics do it. And if you look at the biggest clinics, so Ideal Image, VO, Everbody, like all of these clinics will follow this structure generally. Some of them do it a bit better, some of them do it a bit worse. And then they'll upsell in clinic. Certain clinics will actually upsell before someone even gets into a clinic, right? And what you typically see here is like if you can get 3-4x ROAS up front, you're profitable up front, and then you upsell them, you could be getting like a 10, 20, 30x ROAS. It's disgusting. Whereas if you look at like an e-commerce business, you'll be happy with the 3x ROAS, right? So you have a great opportunity here with Meta Ads. And if you pay attention to everything that I'm going to tell you, then what's going to happen is you will learn how to create profitable upfront offers. And then hopefully if I'm feeling up to it, I'll make a video about, how to follow up with people the best, how to sell them, how to make it so that they can get financing easily. Like all of these things lead to you being able to upsell and get these ridiculous ROAS levels. Like you should easily be able to get 10x ROAS. Think about that for a second. What kind of investment where you put in $1, can you get $10 out? It's ridiculous. And it exists because there is a market arbitrage that exists right now because the algorithm is so damn good for meta ads. The creatives are so damn easy to make. And people value the service. As countries get richer, people only want to spend money on, being younger, i.e. like longevity stuff, and looking younger, i.e. MedSpa stuff. So you should feel very, very grateful that you are in this industry because there is a potential to make a lot of money. So, what are the pros and cons to meta ads? For meta ads, there is a direct ROI that you can see, both upfront and on the back end. And they're scalable and predictable if you know what you're doing. However, they are harder than Google ads. Any idiot can run a Google ad. All you have to do is say what search term you want to advertise for and you want to rank for, and you'll basically be able to bid for that ranking. So if you put hydrofacial in Phoenix, there might be a couple competitors, and then it just depends on the math. If the math is mathing, then great, If you're getting like 10 cent clicks, then great. But if you're not, then, you got to pack it in, right? But for meta ads, there's a lot more moving parts and a lot more variables. And if you go and try and figure it out on your own, you will suffer and you will lose thousands and thousands of dollars and you won't get anywhere. So listen to this guide and listen to what I'm going to tell you. And, you will get an upfront ROAS, return on advertising spend. You will be profitable upfront and you'll do it in a semi-easy way because you'll cut the kind of trial and error and you have a magic bullet, i.e. me. So what are the cons? It can get expensive and low ROI. All right, sorry, I had a duplicate slide. I missed out one point, which was that the value proposition in meta ads. So what is the value that you're giving compared to what the price that you're giving is actually more important than price competition. In Google ads, it's quite important that you remain competitive when people go onto the landing page. But the value proposition, how much value is a said person getting, is very important on the meta ad. Because people make impulse purchases and they need to see the value to be able to make these impulse purchases. Now, what are the cons? It's very hard, like I said. Winners can fatigue, and by winners we mean the ads and the creatives, the videos, the text, the offer, the photos, all this stuff can fatigue because there's only a certain number of people locally. There might be 100K, might be 500K. But once everyone's seen it, you've picked off you cherry picked the people who are most aware and highest intent. The winners can fatigue, and so therefore you need to go back and reiterate. You can have ad account bans and restrictions. Zuck does not like many people. If you want to be safe, then you have to spend $1 million a month. Who's got that kind of money? I don't. But yeah, if you want to basically play it right, you need to listen to what I'm going to say to not get banned. And if you get banned, it's kind of like a death sentence because it takes a very long time to get back, and you might not even get it back. It also can feel like roulette because you keep putting up these ads and nothing seems to work, and then one of them hits off. It really feels like gambling at times. So you need to stay very focused and really believe that it can work. Finally, it's a full-time job because it takes a very long time to learn, to edit, and stuff like that. But the good thing is that with AI, it's actually leveled the playing field. It no longer takes days to create videos like we used to go out and film a bunch. Now a lot of our creative production can be using AI. And so, you can use that to your advantage because you're busy. You might still be doing treatment. And so if you use AI, you can actually get ahead of the curve, get ads up the same day, and swap them out if they're not working instantly. So that's meta ads. Those are the pros and cons. But how do you actually run them? Well, the first thing you need to understand is that all marketing is fundamentally the same. Now, what do I mean by that? Whether it's for dog food, shoulder surgery, lawn care, garage doors, baked goods, private jets, used books, etc. Any kind of industry, all the marketing at the end of the day is fundamentally the same, right? Because, it's actually been the same for a very long time. It's been the same for centuries, whether it's, trade stalls, you have the market trader, get your fish in the medieval times, or it's marketing for tires in World War II, right? It's always been the same. It's been the same for centuries because human psychology has remained the same forever. And that is that people always want to look younger, be healthier, be richer, and have better relationships. The majority of products that you see will fit into one of these 4 categories. Like if you think about it, if you think about a water filter, okay, that's you wanting to be healthier. If you think about MedSpa, then that's like, okay, you want to look younger. If it's a course, then it's probably you want to be richer. If it's food, then you want to be healthier. It typically falls into one of these things. There are subcategories, like, you want to have a good time, etc., etc. But typically, these are the strongest motivations for someone to buy something. And, you in the med spa industry have this crazy storm of good things happening to you. So not only is your industry growing, I'll say our industry, not only is our industry growing, we're in a part where people are really motivated to actually buy stuff, and they're actually throwing money at the problem. Because I said this earlier, as people get richer, all they want to do is be healthier and look younger. That's like it. So we're very lucky. That means the selling is much, much easier. Like imagine trying to go out and sell newspapers today. It's going to be a lot harder to sell one newspaper than it is to sell one Morpheus package. I'll tell you that much, right? Because it's a very core desire that people have, which is to look younger. And luckily, we're in that area and in that space where our products and services can actually help with that. So luckily for you, your industry is very, very easy to market and sell to. Now, the fundamental human psychology of why people buy is because they are suffering with something and they want to alleviate that pain, or they are striving towards something and they want to get something, So it's either, oh my God, I want to fix my ACL and therefore I'm going to buy an ACL surgery. That's pain, I'm in physical pain, or it might even be like emotional, mental pain. Like, I'm going to fix my hair because I get bullied at school, right? But still, you're in pain. You're suffering with something and you want to fix it. Or you're striving towards something, I'm going to buy a pull-up bar because I want to get fitter. Or I'm going to buy that book because I want to get smarter. That's gain. So people buy because of pain or gain. In our world, pain is skin concerns, body concerns. The gain is general longevity. So, sometimes in the consultation, what you'll see is people who don't really suffer with much. They've got pretty good skin. It's not sagging. They're aging as they should, but they actually want to gain something, which is longevity and to age gracefully. And we can sell to anyone. Now, this is an example of a pain-based sale and how the advertising lines up. We have a problem. A woman is in pain and has concerns about fine lines. Now, we have the solution, which is to produce collagen by means of microneedling. And after we do this, the woman is happy with her results. So essentially, what we have is problem, solution, good outcome. Problem, concern, right? Solution, service. A lot of people miss this because, I don't know for what reason, but if you flesh this out, the sale becomes a lot easier. Instead of just shoving benefits and features down their throat. No one wants to hear about like the microneedling pen is poking at like 53, thousand a minute or something. Like no one cares. They want to hear about how the benefit is gonna be the opposite of the problem that they're facing right now, right? So that's how the marketing works in this industry. Now, the golden rule that I actually have is that people buy with emotion and justify it with logic. So they buy because of some kind of way that they're feeling inside, and then they justify it with this little thing up here. So in this case, people bought with the emotion, which is that, insecurity, fear, upset, anger, frustration. These are all emotions. People buy to alleviate themselves with emotions, and they justify it with a good deal. They justify it with logic, right? So think about most purchases. Especially high-ticket purchases, you're going to buy with emotion and you're going to justify it with logic. So, for example, You can think about a water filtration system for your home to remove lime scale and hard water. Yeah, the emotion is, okay, my hair is falling out. I want to fix this ASAP. I'm willing to give any amount of money to fix this. And also, I want my kids to be healthy. That's all emotional things, emotional baggage that people have, and they justify it with logic. Damn, this value stack is amazing. I get the water filtration system, I get replacement of the taps, I might get a boiling tap, I get like yearly updates, maintenance, I get warranty. Like, this is so much, and it's only that much, and plus I can finance it. Damn, logically that makes a lot of sense. So this is the fundamental rule of marketing. Marketing has remained the same. Look for something that people are struggling with. Look for something that people want to gain. Flesh out the emotion in that and justify it with logic and justify it with a good deal. So yeah, it's our job to flesh out this pain or gain and show our service is the solution to this, and then give them a killer offer to logically justify the purchase. Boom. So that was just a reminder of why you should pay attention to me, because that's the results that we've generated for our clients with meta ads. So how do we run these insanely profitable ads, right? There's 3 pillars. The first is a killer offer. The second is captivating creatives. And third is round-the-clock follow-up. I won't spend too long on round-the-clock follow-up because we'll cover that in another video. It's just going to get too long. We're already out for like 40 minutes. But I'll cover the first 2. So first and foremost, we need a killer offer. So I think this is a mafia guy. I'll make you an offer you can't refuse. I don't know the accent. I don't really know what that was. But the point is, you want to make offers that people feel stupid saying no to. Shout out Alex Hormozy. If you can make an offer that sounds silly for people to say no to, they will say yes. Right? And you just need to flesh it out properly for people to see the value in that. So, in terms of the offer, what do we want to do? We want to give away the farm with low consumables, make it as easy as possible for people to say yes, and talk about their dream outcome and make it easy to get to, right? So, if you take like a laser example, you want to give away like a high value laser. Because at the end of the day, unless you have like specific CO2 laser, it has low consumables, right? You want to give away the farm. So, give away the laser. Not for free, but, discount it heavily, or at least raise your prices and discount. Make it easy for people to say yes. Make the deposit payment relatively low, but with a good follow-up. And talk about the dream outcome and make it easy to get to. So, flesh it out that this is actually an achievable outcome for them. And you do this on the landing page, you do this on the ad copy, you do this on the creative. Now, in terms of killer facial offers, this is really what we're looking at. We're looking for pain, such as pigmentation. We're looking for a unique mechanism. Now, by a unique mechanism, I mean what is different about the way that you're going to help them versus the way that they failed in the past. Because people have failed in tackling their issues, and that leads to skepticism about why your thing is going to work. So you need a unique mechanism, and you want to explain to people why this time is going to be different. So why is it different that this time we're actually going to get rid of the pigment and the pigmentation? And that is because, last time you used a derma roller, and that's kind of trash. But this time we're going to use skin pen microneedling, which is going to medically create the punctures, or whatever the way that it works is, at a very high rate to induce collagen production. The other one was dragging across your face, and hence why you have scars now. This one won't drag. That's a unique mechanism. You want to stack the value up. Those old school sales presentations where they stack the value up, and it's only like this much cost, right? You basically want to do that, but on the ad. So you want to give away the farm. We're going to give you free serum. We're going to give you treatment. We're going to give you LED. And what is a value proposition? So this is obviously wrong, but they should say something like, now, actually no, this is right. Now $200, usually $300, and that's our value proposition. So what's the value of the treatment that they're actually getting, and how much lower is the price? And then a freebie. So we like to give a free massage sometimes. Now here's an example. I'm not going to go through all of this because we are pressed for time. I want to keep this under an hour, but I'll go through it briefly. So this is ad copy that you can actually screenshot and use for a facial treatment, and a relatively expensive facial treatment in the UK market, $165 or about $220. But what are the constituents of a good ad copy? You want a local call out. You want to decompose the offer. So in this case, and this works particularly well for facials, so that's what we're talking about right now, right? This is not really for advanced aesthetics, it's not for body contouring, this is for facials. You want to break down the offer and the value stack in constituent parts like this. So what are they getting? And at the end of the day, what is the value proposition? So regular 260, now 165. What are the benefits? What are the step-by-step instructions on how to claim it? So that's a call to action. And then PS for a free gift, right? So these constitute really, really great ad copy. And, I might go over it in a future video, but for now, if you just implement this, take what I'm saying and implement it, you will get sales. Like this ad, we were doing bloody 5x ROAS in a local market, which is pretty crazy, upfront, which is like we were booking people like left, right, and center, 3 to 5 bookings a day. It's ridiculous, like spending almost no money and getting those kind of bookings. Now, what are the best creatives for facials? So in terms of creatives, we want an ultra aesthetic video of the steps. We want a POV headline calling out the pain. We want it to be short and snappy on the beats, and we want a variety of angles. So in the old school of advertising, they used to say headline is 80% of the dollar that you use. So it's 80 cents of the dollar goes towards the headline. In today's world of advertising, we have a headline. But if we're running video ads, the headline is not like in a newspaper, right? Because before it would be print media, or the headline would be of the newspaper. So it would be like, fix bowling in 5 days. In this case, our headline is plastered over the video as an overlay and lasts a couple of seconds. So I'll show you the video here. But by POV headline calling out the pain, it basically means like POV is a format that the new generation understands. Point of view. It's the point of view of the person who's inside the video. So essentially it's saying, point of view, I'm dealing with this pain and therefore this treatment I'm getting to fix that. And the person who also deals with this pain will firstly get targeted and put their hand up and say, yeah, you know what, I'm actually dealing with this pain and I'd love to get the treatment. So I'll show you what the video looks like. So if you see, this is POV or type of dry skin. So this kind of video is short, it's to the point, it's a walkthrough of the treatment. These work exceptionally well for facials because there's something satisfying about it. People can see what they're going to get. They're not trying to fix some kind of big before and after. They are there, because they know most likely what the facial is or it looks interesting. And so it's our job to make it look appealing. And this is just what we found to work best. We've tried statics, they don't work as good. But yeah. This is the best creative for facials. Now, in terms of our body contouring, this is the killer offer, which is, once again, pain, unique mechanism, value proposition, and freebie. So, you got belly fat, fine. We can do wood therapy and cool sculpting. We're going to freeze the fat cells. That's our unique mechanism. That's why, Katie, your deep cleanse at home where you did the juicing, it didn't work because you didn't actually kill off the fat cells, Whereas in this case, we're going to freeze the fat cells. Value proposition, once again, usually versus now. And the freebie, what freebie are we going to give? Because at the end of the day, reciprocity is a very powerful emotion. If you look at how monks work, they always give something, a book, a bracelet, and then they ask for a donation in return, right? Same way we want to give, and then eventually it'll come back. Now, in terms of the best creatives for body sculpting, what we found are actually statics, right? As opposed to videos, because people don't really know what the treatment is. They don't know what wood therapy is. Static graphics with the desired outcome do the best and are compliant. But you have to be very careful when promoting the body sculpting, because what can happen is if you put a before and after, Facebook can take you down because they think that you're promoting unhealthy standards of being or promoting one ideal body, right? Which there isn't, right? So you be very careful if you want to do befores and afters. This format is what we found to work best, where you literally just have the after picture, and you have the unique mechanism you might have, or the main thing is a value proposition, right? 350 to 175, and we've just seen that to work well time and time again, and you can get an upfront ROAS. You can do it. And the good thing with body sculpting is that people know that they need a package, and it's weekly, so you can get a lot of cash very quickly. So you get someone to come in for like $200 every week for 10 weeks. That's $2,000, right? Only for 10 weeks of service. And so it works very well. And so that is the best creative that we found for body sculpting. This kind of creative. Yeah, you can try the befores and afters, but make sure that they're not too obvious, and never use the words before and after. Look, if your ad account gets banned, don't blame me. I have given you fair warning. Now, in terms of advanced aesthetic offers, I mean stuff like exosome microneedling, I mean RF microneedling, I mean Tixel, I mean M sculpt, M face, stuff like that, right? Advanced aesthetic offers are slightly different because you don't need the breakdown of the value proposition. You just need a value proposition, right? So you need the versus the. This is actually wrong. Collagen production should not be here. That's actually a benefit. So in this case, uneven skin texture, morphe states. That's a unique mechanism. The value prop is like, look, it's normally $1,000, but we want you to try for $550, and then the freebie is something again. Now, this is really the holy grail. Like, seriously, pay attention now, because if you run this format of ad where you have the before and after, it can be AI generated. That's okay too. With the benefits and the price and everything like that, this kills, and this murders for about 2 weeks, and then it will die out, but that's okay, right? But make sure you're compliant with not promoting unhealthy standards of being. So this is the best creative by far. Now, the reason I say it's like the holy grail, the golden standard, everything like that, is because this is pretty expensive, like $500. You sell that, if you get like 10 bookings, that's already $5,000 up front. You're probably spending $1,000 on ads, and so up front you're making really good ROAS. It's almost like high ticket, right? But yeah, this works the best. Or short videos that show the before and after. Images have the lowest CPM, which means for 1,000 impressions it has the lowest cost, and also lowest cost per lead. Now, before and afters work well, but please be compliant. And they also fatigue quickly, so test a lot. So you need to have like 8 to 12 of these ready to go at any given time, because these will last only a very short time because people will get sick of seeing them. So this image, it might last for like 2 weeks, and then you swap it out. But you should be getting bookings within those 2 weeks. And what's great about this is it's very user friendly for you guys, because you can just create this on Canva or with ChatGPT, and feed it for even this image. Feed it in, right? Ask it for whatever you want, and then it will spit it out, and then you can literally use that one, and it works. Like, it's the most mind-boggling thing, because we used to spend like hours and like a lot of money going out, filming, editing for clients, but now you can do a lot of it using AI, and it's almost as effective, if not more effective. It's ridiculous. Now, very, very briefly, you've got your creative, you've got your ad copy based on what I've given you. How do you actually target people? What is the budget and the placement? So just look at this. This is how we target, and this is what does well for us. So targeting is always left open, because you don't need to do detailed targeting anymore, because the AI is just so good. Meta algorithm is so good, where based on the creative that you have and based on the copy that you have, the ad text, it can just figure out what's working and who to show it to. And so you can leave targeting open. I would give a suggestion of women. In terms of the KPIs, a $4 to $8 cost per lead is very good. In terms of budget, you want to basically give each ad set a budget of 4 to 5 times the target cost per lead. So therefore, 4 to 5 times that, you're looking at about $20 to $40. In terms of scaling, you just want to duplicate ads and scale up. In terms of placements, you're looking at mainly in feed and bidder stories. So in terms of that stuff, I will maybe, if there's enough demand, I will maybe make a video about that. Let me know in the comments below if you want me to. A landing page. So 50% of people will book themselves on the landing page and they actually end up submitting information. So that's very good because you don't have to do much. And this is just an example landing page. I'm not going to go over that in too much detail. But yeah, landing page is very good because people can inform themselves about it. We've actually tracked every part of the landing page using some software to see where people click on, and we've added it. So this is the optimized version. So you can just basically recreate this and run. Now, this is pretty much it because I've given you what kind of offers work, right? I've given you the creatives. I've given you the text. I've pretty much given you everything. I've given you the targeting, the budget, and the placements. Now, look, I know it can be daunting to run this kind of thing yourself. And so I understand that a lot of you will want someone else to do it for you. So if you would like our help to do this, we do this day in and day out on a commission basis as well. So please feel free to sign up here, which is dermabook.com/new, or you can scan this QR code to basically take you to the same place and we can help you with your ads. We will do everything A to Z and implement everything that I've shown you. We'll create your ads, we will run them, we will follow up with people in an automated manner where you don't have to do anything. And the real cherry on top is you only pay us when you treat a patient. So we don't charge a retainer. So instead of having a $2,000 retainer, we will actually only want to get paid when you treat a patient. Now, the issue is that we are pretty limited because my media buyer is going to get mad at me for saying that we can take on more than we can, but we can only take on 4 clients a month. And the clients that we do take on, because we work on commission, they must be able to invest a couple grand a month on ads and be able to take on at least 30 to 40 clients a month. So, if you're just starting out, it's probably not for you, but we work best with clinics that have 2 to 10 staff, maybe 1 or 2 locations, where they have empty calendars for 1 or 2 staff, right? That we can just go ahead and fill up. And we provide sales training. So if you want someone who's going to create ads, run them for you, optimize them for you, follow up with leads because we have a call center ourselves, book people in, take a deposit, and only get paid on a commission basis, that's us. And if you are interested, go ahead and sign up here. But if you're not, I do endeavor to release more and more videos here to basically help you guys out, to take our learnings and implement them yourself, because it could save you years of trial and error. It could save you thousands of dollars in terms of ad budget. And yeah, I kind of want you guys to win, whether it's with us or whether it's alone. I want you guys to win. I know how much you guys work hard in the industry. And yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Till then, have a good day and yeah, kill it with ads. Peace.